Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Seen It All. I'm Alvaro.
I'm Luke. What's going on, guys?
Welcome back. Thanks for watching episode 1. How's it going, man?
I'm doing good, bud. I like how we really get into watching. Like personally, you and me will both watch something different, or we'll watch the same thing, and then I like how we can just talk about that, man.
Bro, I watched like 6-7 movies.
You see, that's
since we recorded the first episode.
I think I've done two or three films.
I think that's actually probably one of the perks about this is that it makes me watch more movies than I was before.
I'm trying to, and you know what it is? I love watching just not only new, but I'll go back and watch things that are old.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I watched a film that was probably, I think, maybe, I got to go back and check, but I think maybe 10, 15 years old. Like, and then I watched two current ones. But like I threw in like an oldie in there, something I hadn't seen, something that was, I don't want to say critically acclaimed, but that was like well known for the director, like a pivoting point in his career.
Yeah, I just finished watching The Prince of Egypt, which I hadn't seen.
In a long time, or the first time?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember.
You see, but that's sort of fun in a way because it's like, man, I don't know. I might have seen this one, but I have no recollection.
So you like watch it for the first time?
It's like watching it again for the first time, and those are like those moments are pretty cool when you're watching something that you're debating if you've seen or not, but you get that new experience again, which is pretty cool, man.
I mean, that was the story of Moses, so it wasn't anything, I guess, that I didn't know how it was gonna play out. However, the fact that DreamWorks did it, and like I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun, and it was cool, like to experience, as you said, like, oh, I don't remember ever seeing this. So seeing it as like a first time.
But you know what makes it too is like, the certain actors or actresses that are in it that you're like, it's nice to see this.
Oh yeah, Val Kilmer.
Yeah,
Val Kilmer did the voice of Moses and
Rest
God.
Rest in peace, Val Kilmer.
Yeah,
rest in peace.
Rest in peace, man. The GOAT.
The GOAT. I mean, he was great, man. What's your favorite Val Kilmer role?
You know what, man? Every time I think of Val Kilmer, I go right into my favorite, like, because it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
Let me guess. Heat.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. For not only directing, I love Michael Mann, but Pacino, De Niro, and Kilmer.
Yeah. No, he was an amazing heist movie.
I think that's one of the best heist movies. Like,
for sure.
One of the best.
Definitely one of the best.
The soundtrack with Moby. Oh, man.
Any soundtrack Moby does is fire.
Oh, yeah.
That is very true, Chef.
That he's never not done a fire-ass fucking...
That's our producer, Chef Boyardee.
Yeah,
yeah, no, Val Kilmer was...
He just had... You know what it was? He just had that look. He just had this... he had this swag to him in the movie that was just... He had this persona that was just so cool, man. Just so dope. You just... Everything
with
he
did. The long hair and everything.
The long blonde hair, the sunglasses, the suit with the ARs, with the M16s, just in that shootout scene with the police.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, he was a badass movie.
He's always been bad. He has this charisma that's just when you see him on the screen, it's just unmatched.
Yeah.
I have two Val Kilmer. So Val Kilmer, for me, has two special places. There's a movie that's not the best movie, but it was one of my favorite, like, psychological thrillers. This movie was called Mindhunter. Val Kilmer was a side character in there, but goddamn, did that movie fucking make me happy.
Is that's the one, that's the, like, the earliest, I'm trying to think. I lost my words there. Is that the one with Hannibal Lecter? It's like supposed to be like from Red Dragon.
No. This is it is almost in the same vein though, because it is like because it is criminal profilers. Like it's it's like a training criminal profiler, and Val Kilmer is like the lead trainer, and he takes them to this island for their final mission, and he's this like motherfucking best lead trainer in the world. And then the movie just kind of goes from there. But that, it's not like the best movie of all time, but it just holds a special place.
It's one of those that leaves a mark.
Yeah,
gotcha.
But my favorite Val Kilmer role of all time is Doc Holliday.
I was gonna say.
Oh my God, Tombstone! But Tombstone is just
there's no
out
way.
of control. That's one of man. You can.
I'm glad you said it because that was actually what I was gonna say. That
I'll be your Huckleberry.
His role in Tombstone was, without a doubt, probably my favorite role of his as well.
He just, man, and it goes back to that. He just has this presence, this such a suave, cool guy. Like and he doesn't even need to try.
There cannot be another Doc Holliday.
No, there will never be another.
No.
And then just what's great when you get an ensemble where you could tell it's just all badasses in their own like retrospect, their perspective way. Like Sam Elliott, Kurt Russell, Bill Paxton, Michael Biehn, like.
Yeah, no.
And they're all, it's like, but just, man, it's just, they're all great and they're all bad, but he's so good.
Did you like him as Batman?
You know what? I did like him. I thought he was a good Batman. I thought he was a great Bruce Wayne.
He was a great Bruce Wayne.
Because he has the look. He's got that pretty, he can either do like, I'm a pretty boy, I can do anything, but I got the look in the face for it. And then it's the way he speaks too. You give him that role where he's a billionaire. He's also he's got a mysteriousness to him.
It was Batman Forever, right?
No, Batman Forever. And then, you know what was funny was before, Bob Kane, creator of Batman, before he died, he never got to see, Christian Bale or anyone else past that point. I don't know if he got to see George Clooney as Batman, but I believe Val Kilmer was the last thing that he saw, live version. And he said that Val Kilmer was the best presentation he's seen of Batman and Bruce Wayne.
I mean, I guess.
But this is just no. But I'm just saying.
I know. But yeah, I mean, I liked him as
I liked him.
Bruce Wayne and Batman.
A little side note was Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey. Have you ever heard about that interaction?
No, but they were. I think those are two of my favorite castings that they've done
for like villains.
Yeah, I think Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey as Riddler and Two-Face was so good,
especially for the type of Batman they were going for.
Right? Yeah.
That comic, that colorful,
If you had to do a Riddler solo movie, who would you cast in it now? There's an actor that I feel would be amazing in this role, but I want to know what you think.
Wow. Okay. To do the Riddler, man, I liked Paul Dano. Paul Dano brought like not the comical, like he brought that we're deranged. Man, I don't know, for a Riddler, I'd have to really think about it, to be honest with you. I can't think of anyone right now at the top of my head.
I would cast Sam Rockwell.
Really? Sam Rockwell?
Sam Rockwell and the Riddler, I think he can do wonders with that role. I love Sam Rockwell as an actor. I mean, 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
Jojo Rabbit.
He
was so funny in Jojo Rabbit.
He was so fun. I mean, Taika Waititi's as a screenwriter and director is one of the best right now.
Yeah, we'll forgive the last Thor movie. We'll pretend that didn't happen.
I mean, I didn't. Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend it was a good movie.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. So Sam Rockwell to me I think would be such an amazing casting for the Riddler. Yeah, you should think about it. Just
because that's a question I really never thought about, like recasting a Riddler.
Well, movies get remade all the time.
No, of
so
course.
I'm sure that at some point they're gonna remake something, and
it's like how. And you know what it is? It's like, how do we choose the right person for this role? How are we gonna
auditions?
Well, yeah,
that's what auditions are for. That's how you cast the right person.
Sometimes when he talks and he gets like this, I don't know. Just
you don't know how to take it. I piss you off.
He doesn't piss me off. He just, I'll remember this back at some point.
Anyway, so yeah,
before
we started recording, we were talking about The Last of Us.
Yeah, and we got that coming up now on Sunday, man.
This Sunday. And it got renewed for season 3 before even season 2 premiered.
That's such a huge gamble to just be like, renew it right now.
Some people these production companies, they know, man. They know the audience that they have. They know how popular it is. I mean, it's been like a year and a half since
the last season came out, season 1.
Yeah, since season 1 came out or it ended, people have waited a while, and I think they know the audience, they know the fan base behind the game.
Of course, because the game was so not only so popular. I mean, well, besides that, if you look at like Universal Studios, they did the whole haunted house thing for their
They
Halloween
did, that's
Horror
right,
Nights. Huge
Yeah.
hit too.
I mean, they're capitalizing on it. They know, and I think renewing it for season 3 was the right move.
But
Before season 2, I don't see.
And it's like, how are we? Well, how do you continue it? Because if it's they've been spot on with they've been following the video game, and so.
I mean, I think at some point they're gonna have to go once the video game ends, the story of the video game ends. They're gonna have to do their own.
Are
thing.
they gonna? Well, I never played part 2. I haven't played part 2 yet, so I don't know. Is there gonna be a continuation, or if you played part 2, did they end it like it was?
Honestly, no, I didn't play part 2. I played part 1.
I played part 1
when it first came out, and the anxiety that I felt during that game, like I was literally sweating because I didn't want to die.
Oh yeah,
in the game.
Because you know what? It's not only the clickers. It's you know what's funny is it's like it's not even the dead you worry about. It's the people who are alive.
That the zombies, but the anxiety that I was feeling, not wanting to die, is because everybody, and I don't care who you are, I don't care where you're from, everybody has always thought about if there was a zombie apocalypse, would they survive? Everyone.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, it's like, let me see if I
How
can
would
survive
I do in this situation?
How would I do in this situation? And me dying in the game is like, man. So you try not to, and man, anxiety, like sweating everywhere, like you're just.
You know
like,
what it
this
is because you can't be loud. You have to be so quiet. And then the way that they sound, the way that they move, you're like, oh, this is so off-putting.
Even in real life, you have to be quiet. You're just like, you think you're in the game. Like, you think you are the person dying.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know.
But it's going to be great, man. I mean,
but I think,
season 2 was...
yeah, I think they're going to do the same thing with, like, they did with Game of Thrones, where eventually the story will end and they can basically now, like, they can continue the story on their own. You know what I mean?
It's crazy to see, like, it's... Because it's not like a zombie infection where people are like turning into zombies and eating you. It's just an infection from
fungus.
From fungus,
like, it's.
And then it's based on like real life. It's like a real life fungus that you see like with. Obviously, it hasn't happened to humans. Hopefully, it never does. But you know, like you see it with like little like spiders and like little insects and stuff where a fungus takes over and they're literally just. They're dead, but they're moving and it's alive, and you see the fungus growing out of them. So it's like that concept that's pretty insane.
I think that's the most scariest part about it, is that the fact that it's based on real things.
It's real things.
It's fungus. It's nature. It's natural. There's a huge possibility that it possibly could happen, and I think that, and the way season 1 started was with the scientists explaining everything is what made it even more like, oh shit.
And it's like and if that were to happen in this world, there's no cure for this. It's done.
I'm hoping that with technology that we can, like,
let's not speak about it like it's actually
like
gonna
it's
happen.
actually gonna happen.
Yeah, because now we're talking about it like
I'm scaring myself.
Yeah. Oh no, you're sweating through the piss.
I'm sweating.
Don't worry, guys. It's not a high percent chance that a fungi can evolve to take over a human parasite, because there is no evolutionary advantage for it to do so right now. So
that is true.
Do not worry about that.
You see, this is why.
Thank you, producer Chef Boyer, for calming my nerves.
Yes, he's not sweating anymore. His nipples are sensitive. I'm joking.
I'm just cold, man.
He's just. But you know what it reminded me of? I'm going to be honest. Like when you watch The Last of Us, it reminded me of one of the new films I watched, which was called Wolfman. And it sort of reminded me of that same thing where it's someone who gets infected. Not like a transformation, but like infected.
Is that what the movie's about? I didn't see it.
So, yeah. So the movie was directed by, I think, one of the all-time greats in horror, Leigh Whannell. Leigh Whannell. Leigh Whannell.
Oh yeah,
listen to me. Well, now, if you're not familiar with him, he's done Saw, he's done Dead Silence, The Conjuring. I mean, he's one of the biggest names when it comes to horror,
Yeah.
And
I love Saw. Anyway, continue.
No,
to throw that out there.
Saw appreciation, incredible. So it's not your traditional what you would think like. Okay, you think the Wolfman, you think okay, someone who gets bit, who's cursed, gets bit by a werewolf, transforms at night into a wolf, and by day goes back to being a human. This is when you watch it, it really reminds you of The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, like someone who. It's like
So it's
someone
another
who,
body horror film in a sense.
like yes and no. I would honestly say yes, it is. I would say body horror in the sense of someone who is infected and dying and transforming into this horrible thing. Because it's not like I said, where you're gonna transform and then you go back to your human self. This person is literally, you're watching a transformation into someone who's literally gonna lose themselves completely, like die, and then transform into this horrible creature, and then stay that forever.
Also, it's not like changing
No,
during the
it
day
is.
and then at night they turn into full moon.
I want you to picture someone who gets infected, and you're watching them slowly die.
Okay.
They're slowly transforming and dying, and as it's transforming, it's just hideous. It's disgusting to look at. And then they lose themselves completely, and they turn into something that they're not. They literally die and become something else.
Interesting.
So,
What do you think? Was it good?
I liked it because it's a different perspective. When you think of Wolfman, you're going in already with the, okay, so we're going to have this guy gets bit by a werewolf, Curse of the Werewolf type thing, and it's not that.
Well, yeah, I think the werewolf, like classic, horror, like, Dracula and Frankenstein's monster and the werewolf or Wolfman.
Yeah.
Wolfman.
The Wolfman.
So
But
that's what I think about when I think of that.
But what's funny is like I like the actor they chose. He sort of reminds me of like a Lon Chaney Jr. He sort of had a little bit look. He sort of reminded me of Lon Chaney, like who did the original Wolfman.
Oh, okay.
But
That's probably why they casted him. They were like, "You have that thing about you."
you have that sort of look to you.
Yeah.
Like a good guy, good guy. And it's like you're a good person. You're just doing good in the, you're trying to be a good father, doing things right, and this happens to you, and it's just, and then the twist at the end, you're like, oh shit, wow, you were like, wow, that sucks, but it was good, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was, because you sort of were like, you're watching it and you go, well, this can only end one way, because there's no good ending to this at all. This is a bad situation that happened to someone good, and now it's just not going to be a good ending for that character.
Okay.
I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it.
I don't see myself going out to watch it, but
No. You don't have to. I mean, if you like horror and you like Leia, you're going to watch it.
yeah. Sure.
If you're a horror fan and stuff.
It was an A24, right?
No, it was not an A24. Universal.
Universal. Duh.
Yeah.
Obviously. I think they have the rights to
Yeah, well, the Universal Monsters. That's
Universal
all that.
Monsters, right? Exactly.
Yeah, they got all the
think
rights
They have
to
the
it.
right to
But it was good. I enjoyed it, and you know me, I'm a horror junkie. So if it's horror and I think it's gonna be good, I'm gonna give it a shot.
I'm not a horror junkie.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna watch it.
No, I know.
No, I may give it a whirl. Who knows? I may have to.
Yeah.
I have to extend my palate. You know what I mean?
That's okay. You know what? I have to do the same. Honestly, I've been thinking about giving. Because I know this was a subject of mine about musicals. I might be open and I'll start little by little.
I'll tell you this. Not all musicals are good, bro. Like at all.
Well, I know that.
Well, because I just watched recently Mufasa. That was one of the 6 movies I had seen, and it was better than I expected.
Okay.
Because I was one of those people when the trailer came out, and in the trailer they say, "Oh, Mufasa gets adopted by Scar's family and everything," and for me, I was like, "Well, that kind of changes the entire lore of the movie." And Lion King is by far one of my favorite movies, Disney animated movies. Like, to me, it was just one of those movies that left what's the word I'm looking for?
Did it leave an impression?
It left it was just left an impression on me that has, to this day, at 36, I still love that movie, the music, everything. So for me it was like, oh, they're gonna change basically the lore of the Lion King and Mufasa and everything. And so when I saw the trailer, I was like, this is not gonna be good. And I like the fact that I was wrong, because the movie was, one, better than I expected as far as plot is concerned and story. The graphics and the CGI and everything were some of the best that I've ever seen. like the fur of the animals when they get wet and the way they move with the wind and everything.
The details
The
in it.
details is small. It was just like, wow, it's like they're
You
real.
appreciated it.
You know, not only did I appreciate it, but they were real. And then how they incorporated the story of Scar and Mufasa and who Scar was and how he became who he was and how Mufasa became king. To me, it was like, okay, that makes sense. Because at this point, if you haven't seen it, then it's on Disney Plus. You should see it. The idea is that they became outsiders, and they run into another outsider, which is Sarabi, who ends up becoming Mufasa's queen, and they're basically looking for another land or another area to basically live in. So when they gather all the other animals, they choose Mufasa to be the leader, to be the king of their kingdom, because Scar was, one, he had backstabbed Mufasa, and two, he was kind of a bit of a coward. You know, his character was a coward. So, and it explains why Scar got the scar and how he got his name. And I loved it because Mufasa was like, I don't even know what to name you. And he goes, you should call me Scar so that I can remember what I did to you. And I thought that was just so cool. Like, but my one gripe of the entire movie, or I have two gripes. One gripe is the continuity to me between this movie and The Lion King is that in this movie, Mufasa has the ability to smell, like his sense of smell is ridiculously amazing. Like he can smell miles away.
Okay.
We don't touch up on that in The Lion King. Granted, yes, I know in The Lion King he dies within the first like 30 minutes of the movie, but they don't hint at that at all. And that to me was a big continuity where I was like, so you just gave him this ability that he didn't have, like, you know what I mean? And then the other part was to what we were talking about before was the musicals. Like the songs in this movie were not good. I was like, what are they doing here? Like, what are these lyrics? They were trying to be fun, and it didn't work for me at all. Other than that, looking past the musical numbers, I thought it was a really good, like I thought it was a really good film.
Okay.
Compared to some of the other live actions.
Yeah,
for sure. And it was a new story. You know what I mean? It was something that we had never seen before. It was something new.
It wasn't just a repeat. It was a little bit fresh.
No, it was just hey, let's give Mufasa a story. And I thought that was really cool. I thought the way they did it was cool.
Good, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks. I'm glad I enjoyed it. And
you're glad that you proved yourself.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, I know we've been on a big A24 tip lately, and
you kind of have to be, man. The way they've blown up over the past few years.
They're doing good stuff. I mean, which was one of the other films I watched, which was called Y2K, another A24 movie.
Okay.
If you want to see that one, it's on Max, and it's actually a pretty good watch. You know, so it stars the leading actress of the year so far, Rachel Zegler.
Leading actress
of the year.
She's front runner right there.
She's front runner right now, and it's got Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah,
Fred Durst. I mean, it's another one which is a horror film, which is pretty good. It's a comedy sci-fi horror film. Y2K. So if you grew up in the 90s and you're a 90s junkie, it's just such a throwback. It's so fun to watch because you're like, wow, it takes you back to your childhood. AOL, the music, the style.
Oh, it takes place in the 90s.
Yeah, it takes place in the 90s. Okay. So the food, even the food and drinks, where they're, those subtle little things like that, where you're just like, and you'll see the labels, you'll see this, and you're just like, wow, man.
Or like the old school Pepsi.
Everything that you could think of that was the 90s, just think of that. The shows, the movies, it was just such a good time to watch. And it's pretty much about, Y2K. We're getting into the year 2000. It takes place New Year's. We hit 2000. And then we go right into, what would happen if all the computers. A virus takes over and all the machines take over. You know, and they want to use humans to put themselves into it and just keep the world better because they realized became self-aware. AI. Think about like the earliest form of AI coming to terms with how humans are so easy to control and so easy to manipulate. And they figure it on early on like that. And they're like, you know what? We're going to take over. But it's just the whole comedy aspect of just watching 90s teens deal with this and just try to survive. It's pretty good, man.
So it was kind of like Cloverfield.
No, I wouldn't say Cloverfield. I would think of like a sort of Skynet, not on that big grand scale where they're, you know, but just picture like you had computers, you had like think about like your usual like kitchen appliances and stuff, and the virus is able to take over everything that way, and it just and like everything just conforms into one. Like they become a robot pretty much. Like it just think of like the Thing. It just assimilates into its own thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Kills humans, takes humans hostages so that they can wire themselves into them. But it's just funny just watching teens in the 90s just have to deal with that. But for the majority of it, I was laughing. I mean, I was having so much fun. And Fred Durst in it. Because Fred, if you don't know who Fred Durst is, that's Limp Bizkit. It's the lead singer of Limp Bizkit, and he was huge at that time. The 90s was he was dominant.
The 90s was his time.
Yeah,
definitely.
99 specifically, I think, was just when Woodstock and everything and I've really been enjoying a lot of A24 stuff lately, but I really enjoyed that movie. It's not like, oh my God, it was just fun, and it was just the nostalgia of the film that just, for me personally, that's what gripped me to it.
So what do you rate the movie? Out of 5, yeah.
Out of 5?
If you had to letterbox it, what would
if I had to letterbox it, so based on it and everything, like if I take away what I feel for it, I would honestly give it like a...
No, but give me what you like based on how you feel about it.
Based on how I feel about it, me personally, I would give it a 3.5.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Just that's my personal. But if I take the way how I feel and everything else, I'd give it maybe like a solid 2.8, 2.9, which isn't really that high.
Is that out of 5 or out of 10?
Out of 5. No, out of 5.
Okay, thank God. I'm like, what the fuck?
No. If I out of 10, then
fucking garbage. To
me. Yeah. I don't want to watch the movie anymore.
I don't want to watch the movie. You know, you'd be like, this movie sucks.
Yeah. Okay. So 2.5.
Like if I take away my personal feelings for it and I look at it for what it is and you know and stuff like that, it's outrageous. But you know, I would. But since the way I feel and I put how I really liked it, I give it a 3.5. Honestly.
Okay.
I'd give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Because you know what it is? It pulled at me, man. It pulled at me. It pulled at my, like, at what I wanted and stuff, you know?
So it drew you in?
Yeah.
That's good.
It did. Right. I mean, that's what I think that was really part of the point of it, too, was just to get those people who grew up in the 90s like, hey, man, remember this? And you were like, wow.
Nice. There was a movie that I just saw that I was hoping would pull me in, and it failed. I feel so bad, like in doing so, because it was Last Breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping it's based on a true story, and I was hoping that it was as good as Only the Brave,
okay,
with Josh Brolin and Taylor Kitsch,
yeah,
and Miles Teller. That movie was phenomenal. So I was kind of hoping somewhat of the same thing with this film, because it's based on a true story. It's like divers going underwater doing some mission or whatever that they have to do, and it stars Woody Harrelson, Simu Liu, and some young guy that I don't remember his name right now. Forgive me.
You're not forgiven.
And it was a quick, fast movie. The movie was like an hour and a half long, right? Mm-hmm. But I did not care for the characters. And at me as a writer, right? You want to introduce the characters and give them something about them, make them three-dimensional enough that the audience, as we watch them, we can connect with them, right?
Mm-hmm.
we didn't do they didn't do that with these
There was
characters.
no connecting.
There was no connection. Like every time they introduced a character, they just kind of sailed on by.
Got it.
It. Like they just
like a quick like little fact, like oh
yeah. The only person was the main kid, the main young guy, and it's because we saw the backstory with him and his wife and everything. So we felt for him. We felt bad for him with everything that happened, and the fact that it's based on a true story. I'm not really ruining anything. He goes. He's a diver, right? So him and Simu Liu go underwater together. Simu Liu is supposed to be like this top-notch diver, but he's kind of like a badass, I guess. Like he's kind of an ass in a bit because he loves like his perfection.
okay,
And that's all exposition, which is kind of the other thing that bothers me.
you ruined the whole film.
Yeah, well, and so they go underwater, and Woody Harrelson is the veteran diver who stays in what they call the bell.
Okay,
Right. So he's the one who feeds them their air tank wires. And actually, hold on. Can you look up the young actor's name so that I can actually say his name rather than the kid?
What's the movie again?
The Last Breath.
you don't like the kid? You don't like
No,
seeing the kid?
it just sounds like I don't know. I got to give the guy respect his name, man.
Of course, no, absolutely.
Finn Cole. Finn Cole is his name.
Finn Cole. Why does that
Yes.
sound so familiar?
I honestly.
Oh,
I
look,
don't know.
Cliff Curtis,
Yeah.
Jamon Hansu.
See, I don't even remember him in this movie.
Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Cliff Curtis was in this. He plays the captain of the ship.
I like Cliff Curtis, man.
So Finn Cole is the young diver, right? So him
Okay.
and Simu Liu go under. Woody Harrelson's the one in the bell,
Okay,
and he's
got
the one
it.
who feeds him the air tank line. And at one point, there's a storm going on. The ship basically gets pulled,
Okay.
and it blows Finn Cole, who plays the role of Chris, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Chris Lemons.
Okay, Chris Lemons. So he pulls the air tank, and he basically loses oxygen. So he only has his reserve air tank in his helmet, which is he has like 8 minutes. And again, this is all based on a true story. So we feel bad for him because he's left behind. Simu Liu has to go back, make sure that he's safe until it's okay for him to come back and get him. We don't feel for Simu Liu or Woody Harrelson. We don't connect with them as characters. And that to me was such a problem because I was like, man, how do you not get me to connect with these characters?
In the face of a tragedy.
In the face of a tragedy where they're about to lose one of their own. The guy literally passed out on the rig because he ran out of oxygen. And to this, he didn't lose any. There was no physical or mental damage done to him based on the amount of time that he was without oxygen, which was, according to the film, was 29 minutes. Nobody knows how he survived. So you want us to feel for these people, and we don't. Like, unlike in Only the Brave,
Yeah.
Miles Teller was this drug addict, punk ass kid who ends up wanting to do something better for his life because his girl was having a kid, whatever. But you feel Josh Brolin, you feel for Taylor Kitsch, you feel for the entire crew because we were able to connect with them as characters, and this movie doesn't do that. And to me, it was like I was so excited when I read and watched the trailer and I saw the plot, or saw the trailer, read the plot. I was like, oh, this is gonna be pretty entertaining, and it failed for me. It just missed the mark. I give it a 2.5 out of 5, to be quite honest, maybe a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wish it did so much better, man.
So why a 2.5 then?
Like I said, it was just the
connection.
the
aspect?
connection with the characters. There was some like intensity that I wanted.
Okay. And it sort of fell flat on that.
It fell flat on that. And again, going into watching the movie, I was anticipating some sort of dramatic, like, edge of my seat kind of thing.
Like a climax, like a big climax, and you didn't get that.
I didn't get it. And I would have, and I'm the type, this, producer Chef Boyardee knows this, I like when characters die in films.
Okay.
It just brings me, it pulls at the heartstrings.
Got it.
I mean?
Does that make you, if a character dies, does that mean for you, does that mean that now you're connected to that character?
No, it just...
Or it
I feel like
completes the connection and then you get that
it just
emotional
feels real.
response. Okay.
It feels real to some degree, you know what I mean?
Got it.
And to me, I understand this was based on a true story, so they weren't gonna kill the guy. I get that.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it just the lack of connection, the lack of depth. There was so much exposition and explaining who everybody was.
There
Like,
wasn't enough time.
There wasn't. No, it just they breezed right through everybody, and it was like, okay. Woody Harrelson was great as always.
Of course.
You know what I mean. Simu Liu too. He did great in the role that he was given. But yeah, that's why to me it was on the lower. Scale.
It was on the lower side.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it was just like a rush film, like something you put on when you have to do stuff in the background type of thing?
Yeah, because you don't. I feel like you don't even have to pay attention.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And it was fast. It was. Like I said, it was like an hour and a half, but it just flew by. The character intros. I mean, they explained who Simu Liu was without even showing him who he was.
Got it.
We didn't see him do the badass shit that he was supposed to.
Yeah, we're saying this guy's an animal. This guy's the best, and you're like, I didn't see anything of what you just said.
No, it was all exposition.
Yeah,
and that to me was a big problem.
Yeah,
that's why I rated it that low.
You're like, so this is all I get.
Yeah, so I'm supposed to trust you.
So he's this good, and this is all I get.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because, you want movies to be like it starts with the script, right? So if the script is bad.
The whole thing.
The directors, the actors can't do anything with it.
And you know what? I totally agree. I feel like, because we've seen films where you have an A-list cast. I mean, and it's like, not even the cast can save this film.
Yeah.
You can't. You just can't. And it comes down to the writing. It comes down to the script. And like you said, if you don't have a good script, it doesn't matter who you get.
At all.
Because
they can only do so much with the They can only do so much with what they have and
correct. What they can deliver,
right.
With that range that they can deliver. And then it goes down to like, are people going to buy this? Like, is this a believable story to people? Is this something people can connect with? And I think that's been a big problem, And I think that's why, like when we look at the Academy too, talking about that, we don't really see a lot of. It's always the same stuff.
Yeah.
It'll be always the same films. You don't see a very big diversity of film.
Correct.
And we see that. I think storytelling has really just hasn't been the same.
No, I mean it's one. I mean, I can speak from experience. It's not the easiest thing to do. But yeah. Once you have a good story, then you can do. There'll be different factors as to why. It could be the director, it can be the actors, it can be
because then we can go into so it wasn't the script that failed, it
Correct.
was who delivered and who didn't deliver.
It was execution, basically.
Execution.
At that point, yeah.
But I just feel, man, I don't know, I just feel in general, I don't know, maybe after, like during COVID and then after COVID, the whole thing, I just sort of felt like the
quality,
not only quality, I feel like the effect film, because film is just really is. It's like reading like storytelling, like really great storytelling. How can we captivate? How can we grip you? How can we bring these emotional responses out of you?
Yeah.
And how do we get you to keep coming back for more? And it's just, I think that in general, film has, and I feel like also the attention span of people has gone down. Like people can't sit through anything more than 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Depends.
It depends
on... No, but
I
get it. It also depends on the story. But I feel like, very few films try to go past that 2 hour and 30-minute mark, especially if it's great storytelling. I mean, there was a few films, over the years that we could say, like, damn, this film's long. But I also feel that it also is like, okay, we can't really keep people going for so many hours. I mean, look at The Brutalist. The Brutalist is, 4 hours long?
4 hours, yeah.
You and me we're the type of people who we don't mind sitting through a film that's long as it's gripping and as long as it keeps me engaged. I'll sit here and do that all day.
Yeah, especially if, like you said, if it's engaging, if it's something that keeps us, focused.
And
on
dialogue
the story,
too. I think dialogue is a huge, especially films that are long like that. You have to have the dialogue. That's just it's keeping us engaged because, you know what I mean. Do you feel that in terms of if we're going long-term films, like if we're going over 2 hours, 30 minutes, 3 hours, we reach that mark, do you feel that dialogue is probably one of the biggest things to keep you engaged?
Yes and no. because we have to care about what the actual person's saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if we don't care, the dialogue's not going to do anything.
Gotcha.
You know, but there's some, I feel like there's some, it plays a role, but it's not just dialogue. You have to have, you know, you say less with more, or you say more with less, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, you give me a scene with barely any dialogue, and just the reaction of somebody's face and how they react to something that somebody else said can say so much more,
of course,
than what they could have said if they verbally said it.
Got it.
Because you don't want, correct, because you don't want them to actually say it. You don't want it spoon feed it to the audience and be like, hey, this is exactly how I feel. You want,
I feel it through just your gestures, your reactions.
Exactly. So I feel like, yes, dialogue is super important, obviously, but it goes further than that.
You know what film that reminds me of? That was, about 3 hours long, maybe a little bit more. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember what gripped me was, the dialogue was The Hateful Eight.
Oh, but that's Quentin Tarantino, man.
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino doesn't miss.
No, never misses, especially with dialogue. He's so good.
He's really
witty
good.
and just
for that movie, he won best screenplay.
Yeah.
So,
but I loved because there was no action till the end. In fashionable Tarantino style, sometimes the film will go on, and then at the end is when it just
hits you with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I felt that this was just the reaction from characters, and you could see it like Bruce Dern. Bruce Dern was in the film, and he didn't really have a lot to say, but it was the reactions that he was giving that you're saying, the facial expressions, you see it, and you're like, oh man, this is getting good.
Yeah.
But
granted, and you have some other movies like Lincoln, which was Daniel Day-Lewis, and that was a super heavy dialogue driven movie. So it just it depends on the subject matter of the film. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
historical
pieces and stuff like that. They kind of have to be.
Of course, because you can't rely on just action and trying to get certain responses through why we're just talking here,
right?
Yeah. But man, I love Lincoln.
Lincoln was really
what a
good.
great film.
Danny Day-Lewis is another.
No, I mean I think that's if you had to getting into that category of greatest actors of our time.
He's up there. I know he's won
3 Oscars.
3 Oscars?
Yeah.
Probably.
I think he's won the most Oscars.
He has.
So it was Lincoln, There Will Be Blood, and I think My Left Foot. I think those were the 3, if I'm not mistaken. I know for sure There Will Be Blood because Paul Thomas Anderson just doesn't miss. And you know what? That's his golden boy.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because he used them in
There Will Be Blood,
Phantom
Thread, and
Phantom Thread, which he didn't win for, but yeah, Phantom Thread was different.
Can I tell you something?
Tell me something.
You're gonna be mad at me. I didn't see Phantom Thread.
You son of a bitch.
I know. This one's for a friend of mine, Alberto. Berto, I've never seen it, and I still haven't seen. Guess what? You're gonna be Armageddon. Never seen Armageddon.
I mean,
what a Michael Bay's best. Bruce Willis,
man,
Ben Affleck, Liv Tyler, Aerosmith.
Look, and I'll tell you this right now. I know. Okay, first of all, I love Armageddon. Ben Affleck, to me, better director than he is an actor, right?
He's a great director.
But Bruce Willis, man, Steve Buscemi,
Michael Clark Duncan, Billy Bob Thornton, and
Will Patton.
Oh yeah, that's right, Will Patton.
Like that movie, when he's like, do you swear on your daughters, on my families, that you can hit that mark? And he's like, I swear to God, I'll hit 800 feet. I swear to God, I will. He's like, then let's turn this bomb off. I was like, yes, like it was so good.
Like, you were riled up.
Why are you were like, and then Steve Buscemi walks in with the guy who plays Max. He's like, did we miss something? Because you have guns pointing at each other.
And Owen Wilson's in it.
Owen Wilson. He's like,
wow.
He's like, what's it gonna be up there? What's it gonna be like up there? Okay, so scariest environment imaginable. Scariest environment imaginable. That's all you had to say.
That's all you.
Oh, space cowboy.
I love Steve Buscemi in the '90s because he's just anything like in The Big Lebowski. It's hey Donnie, shut the fuck up! Like Donnie, you're like a child who wanders into the middle of a movie asking what the plot is.
Steve Buscemi.
Like he just like it was like, hey, how do you do? And then
I love Steve Buscemi in Big Daddy.
He's so great.
In Big Daddy when he's like sausage McMuffin, and when he plays the homeless guy.
Yeah. Stop yelling at me. He's great, man. Steve is just awesome. But yeah, man.
Okay.
Just
first of all, you need to see Armageddon.
I know.
That's one.
Yeah, I need to see.
And don't get me wrong, it's not like Michael Bay's and this amazing director. He uses a lot of explosions. But Armageddon is just one of those like
it's a classic.
It's a cult classic from the 2000s. I mean, it was way better than Deep Impact, with Robert Duvall. But it's just this Armageddon was just too good, man.
I liked it because I've always seen the one clip of where Ben Affleck talks to Michael Bay about like how to like we're we're not astronauts. Like I guess what's Ben Affleck's like his character is not an astronaut, and
the asteroid comes, right?
Are they like engineers?
They're drillers. They're oil drillers.
So he goes, how can like an oil driller be an astronaut? Like like that doesn't make sense. And it was like Michael Bay was like, why don't you shut the fuck up and just act? And that's what Ben Affleck said. He was like, Michael, like, how does an oil driller, like, they're not astronauts, like they don't know about space, and he goes, Michael just looks at me, he goes, why don't you shut the fuck up and just act?
I mean, look, truthfully, in the movie, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Because they bring Bruce Willis is in charge of this oil drilling crew on rigs, and they bring him to NASA to train astronauts, right? And he's like, what's your contingency plan? And he's like, contingency. He's talking to Billy Bob Thornton. He's like, contingency. He's like, yeah, your backup plan. And he's like, oh, we don't have any. He's like, you don't have any? You're telling me that these 8 Boy Scouts are the Earth's hope? This is the world's hope right here?
And then just Owen Wilson, hi.
And he's like, yeah. And he go, okay, no, if we're going to do this, because he was supposed to teach them.
Okay.
He was supposed to teach the astronauts how to use the oil drilling rig to be on the asteroid to drill a hole in it. Because it was his patent. He's the one who made it, Bruce Willis. So he's like, if I'm going to do this, I want to bring my own crew. Because these are the only guys that I trust. So then that's when they go looking for all both teams, and that's who they recruit everybody, who are all oil drillers.
Cool.
And then Ben Affleck is dating Liv Tyler, and he's like, oh, who's the only person who can? He's like, who should run the second oil rig, the second drilling rig? And he's like, the only person I trust more than me is, I forgot his name in the movie. Holy crap. Producer Chef Boyardee. He's gonna pull it up now. Anyway, so he's like, oh, he's the only person who I can trust who can run it just as good as me.
Got it.
So Ben Affleck is basically the AJ.
Okay.
That's Ben Affleck's role character.
Nice.
So they recruit, and it's basically 2 teams or whatever.
Okay. Oh,
and it's just, man, it's just so good, man. Emotional tearjerker, heartstrings, everything. Like
it had everything: the action, the comedy.
Yeah. I honestly, truly believe it's one of Michael Bay's best.
What else would you say is Michael Bay's best?
Bad Boys.
Yeah, I was about to say Bad Boys.
Bad Boys.
1 and 2.
I think 1 and 2, and just because 2 to me had some of the best comedy scenes.
Oh.
Like between buddy kind of thing, you know.
I laughed so hard in the second, because the first one was great. They, you get that buddy action, but it's the flow and the energy between them that they just work so well together. And then the second one was just even better with the comedy.
The second one was so much better with the comedy, with the banter between the two.
Oh, they were so good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Who the fuck are you, Reggie?
Who the fuck is Reggie?
What you want?
Oh, when Martin Lawrence is on ecstasy, and they're at the captain's house. And he's like, Captain, this is a big fucking fish. Big fucking eyes. No, he goes, this is a nice fish. Big fucking eyes, but a nice fucking fish.
What's right?
It was the comedy for that movie was
I didn't
really
even.
good.
I watched the third one, and I was like, all right, whatever.
Oh, the one that was shot, like the one that released like last year. or 2
No,
years
because
ago.
they had a third one, and then they had the fourth one that just came out.
I didn't see the last two.
Nah, I watched the third one. I didn't watch the fourth.
I think 1 and 2 to me was enough.
I feel like, and you know, that's the other problem. It's like, you know, not everything needs a sequel. Like, you don't need to destroy, and you don't need to, you don't need to tarnish the legacy. Like, sometimes just one is good. Two, if you can come up with a great script and it follows it well, then yeah. Like, there's very few films where a sequel is just as good as the first one, you know? And the only, like, a couple examples, two for me that stand out will always be The Godfather Part 2, Terminator 2,
Okay, yeah.
and Aliens.
Okay.
You know, like, those are examples of films that, you know, a sequel, but it has to be right. It has to be good. It has to make sense. Because if you just go and just make a sequel to make a sequel, it's going to tarnish the whole thing. And that's an example there with Bad Boys. Yeah, we did a sequel. Was a third one necessary?
No.
Could we really? And then the other problem is that these sequels do, which I'll never understand, is you can't make a sequel 15, 20 years later. Like, it's just that magic's not going to be the same.
No.
We're out of our prime already.
And that's kind of, it's funny because, so there are two sequels to me that you didn't mention that I think aren't as well known, but I think are so good. Actually, in one of the movie's cases, it's not the second one, it's the third one. So Mighty Ducks 2.
Okay.
To me, Mighty Ducks 2 is the best one of the trilogy.
Okay.
Better than the first one. And the second one, you know, you're dealing with the Junior Goodwill Games and the Olympics, and it's hockey. So to me, it was one of the best sequels that Disney has ever done.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Emilio Estevez, Joshua Jackson, and then the other film that I think had not, the second one wasn't as good, but the third one was better than 2. And some would say, I'm one of those people that would say that was better than part 1. Some people would disagree. Is Toy Story. Toy Story 3.
Oh man, yeah.
Was without a doubt one of the best follow-up films from the original that's been made, that truly outperformed its predecessors.
You know what it was too, and it was.
Did I say that right? Predecessors. Thank you.
Predator? What? You know what?
That, because part 3, man, it
was closing it
insanely good.
And not only insanely good, it really pulled at you, and you were just a mess watching it.
When they're in the garbage chute and they're holding each other's hands, last thing I would have ever thought that you would have felt so emotional about toys dying. And
it's an end of your childhood.
Right, and that's kind of the whole point, right, of the movie.
It's the end of your childhood, and it's letting go and moving on.
But then, to your point of how sequels and follow-ups are not always good, they didn't need a part 4. Part 4 was so pointless.
It was a money grab.
Definitely. But like 2 and 3 were already made. I didn't understand how much more money. You know what I mean?
And not only that, how much 3 was the perfect send-off. It was literally the end of Toy Story, the end of this chapter. It was beautiful. It completed the whole series. For you as a person, you know, growing up watching 1, 2, and 3, and you were like, okay, this is the end, and this is the send off, and it takes you back to when you were a kid watching the first one, watching the second one, and now you're grown up with Andy. Andy's grown up now. He's going away, and you're completing this chapter. That's it. You don't need to. There's nothing else you could have done. There was nothing else that needed to be said, or anything else. That's it. We're done. This is it. This is it. Yeah. Let it end on the high.
And they didn't.
That's the problem. And that's the problem that we have now with these studios, is that they tarnish it, and they discredit, you know, all the great things that led up to where it should have ended. You know, and then it's like, and then of course part of you is gonna be like, well, I'm gonna watch it. Am I happy about it? Probably not, but I'm gonna watch it.
Well, yeah, you've already seen the first 3.
Yeah, so you're like, why am I not gonna see?
And part 4, man, look, I'm one of those people who I don't necessarily, one, I didn't like it, and 2, Chef, can you bring up the Toy Story forecast? There's I forgot the spork. I forgot what his actual name was in the movie. It
Forky,
just
right?
Forky.
Forky, I think Forky. I'm trash.
Yeah, that to me, and I guess maybe I didn't.
Duke Kaboom.
Maybe I didn't. Forky, Tony Hill. So this is kind of the problem that I had with it is that, and I don't know. I guess maybe some people probably be like, "Oh, you didn't get it." Yeah, maybe I didn't. To me, Forky was not a toy. There was no reason why it should have been alive at all. These are all toys. These are all, but it was literally trash put together by a kid with put eyes and everything, and then it just came to life. And to me, it was unnecessary. It was an unnecessary movie. We didn't need all the bunny and rabbit and whoever else, or Ducky or whoever the rest of the other new characters.
But what makes a toy though?
That is a very good question.
Maybe that's the point of that,
right? Which is why I'm like, people are probably like, "Oh, you just don't get it," and I probably don't. I just doesn't process.
I mean, I haven't seen it, but but based off what you said, like, if like what is a toy? Like I used to use, I used to play with forks and spoons, and they were like different warriors from different fucking factions, and they would fight each other.
I would have loved to have seen that.
I would have loved if you would have put you would have drawn on them. You would have
I guess to me it's more of
imagination.
It not only is an imagination, but I think had we seen a glimpse of that in part 1, 2, and 3, then maybe I probably would have been like, okay, this makes more sense. But nowhere in the first 3 did we ever see
anybody. Toy is the who is
it's the little girl that
is the little girl
Bonnie.
It's the little it's the girl.
You know what grinds
about.
You know what grinds my gears?
She's at the daycare, I think, and she's the one who gets all the toys from. And she, I think.
Oh, so she's getting toys donated to her.
Correct.
So she's a poor person.
Right, I guess. But,
so then, if she's a poor person, check this out.
But
I don't know if
she's a poor kid.
But who receives toys?
They're donated to the daycare that she's at, if I'm not mistaken. And I think
daycare.
To the daycare, correct.
I see.
And then I guess before the toys get there, she doesn't have a toy, so she makes one out of Forky, and she pulls it out of the trash and she basically makes it herself. And I don't know. I guess I get your point. It's what is the actual definition of a toy, but
like what gives the toy the magic?
The magic, right? And I guess it's the imagination. So yeah, I understand that aspect, but I don't know. I guess I would have just liked to have seen some of it earlier.
You know what?
I may be wrong. Who knows?
Maybe there was not a necessity because
the toys were already there.
Well, yeah, Andy's family was straight. You know what I mean? It was the 90s. Everybody was chilling. The economy was good. You know what I mean?
Inflation was low.
Yeah, you feel me? So he was a good, middle class family. They were able to afford a brand new Buzz Lightyear toys. You feel me? So they didn't have to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But maybe that's why we were seeing it just like a new form of
like
what
we can
maybe just expanding on the universe of what is the magic of the toys. Is it just that a corporation makes the toy, or can a kid make a toy and now it's a toy? Now it has
and it comes to life magic. And it has life.
If it gives the same thing.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
You want to know how I know we're old now? If you go and you buy Woody and you look at his shoe, it says Bonnie. It doesn't say Andy anymore.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, no, that part I just throw it at the wall.
That's lame. Anyway, going back to the sequels, that to me, part 3 was the best. Part 4 was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And Pixar, truthfully, their sequels aren't always the best.
I know with Moana, you didn't.
Moana 2 is Disney.
Oh, it's not Pixar?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Yeah, fucking dirty. Moana 2 was okay. We spoke about that last episode.
Did you like The Incredibles 2?
No, absolutely not. It was completely dumb. And I understand what they were going for with like Elastic Girl being able to having her moment, right? What I didn't like was how Mr. Incredible, how they perceived him as this incompetent dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That to me was
like he couldn't. The only thing he was good at was being a hero. He didn't know how to be a father.
Correct. But she had it easy. Not easy, but she had it. She was her transition going from the stay-at-home mom to the hero mom was so much more fluid for her. And I was like, okay, you could have had the transition for the dad the same way too. You know what I mean? That was my gripe. Finding Dory also,
I didn't even watch that.
bro. Finding Dory, I can. Not many people would agree with this. Actually, I like to tell this story just because I like to think what I like to see what people think about it. So, Finding Dory basically is about Dory finding her family, right?
Yeah.
And we all know that Dory has short-term memory loss, right? Or short-term memory issues. So the way I think, I was, and this is going to what I had said earlier, that I like it when a character dies,
Yeah.
right? She finds her way back home, and they give the story of her being a baby fish, and her home gets attacked, and her parents are like, "Go, we'll come find you." And something happens. I think she ends up hitting her head something or whatever, and she ends up leaving, and she forgets how to get home. She doesn't remember how to get home. So her parents, we never see her parents again. So she leaves, whatever, and then we see who we know as a grown up fish. And the whole point of this movie is for her to go back.
Okay.
And I feel, and this is going to the point of pulling at the heartstrings. I would have loved for her to have gotten home and her parents not to have been there. Her parents are there. They waited for her. And she has this reunion with her family, with her actual parents. To me, I would have loved for them to have killed her parents off. Only because in part 1, she specifically states that Nemo and Marvin are now her family. She is now with them. That's her new family. And the idea that she doesn't remember where she's from, she doesn't remember her home, we get that in part 2. We get that she gets her. We get that she remembers where she is. She remembers where she's from, and she still has her family. Her new family, right? So that to me would have been so much. I didn't need the reconnecting between her and her parents. I didn't. So to me, I'm like, oh man, like you guys almost had me with the emotional aspect of it, and then at the end, you kind of just pulled it away. That was kind of that was my issue with that film.
You are the bringer of death because you just want them. You just want death.
I would have done it where her parents were there,
but she comes home and they're not there right away.
No, they just forgot about her.
I would have laughed.
Hey, you're the sucker.
But they just forgot about her. They're just like, we never had a daughter named Dory.
Oh,
like,
you exist. Okay.
Who's that?
Yeah, they just don't know. Like, they just completely deny and reject her completely.
Like all the cops. Yeah. It's like, no, this is our daughter.
Yeah, we don't have a fucking daughter.
The daughter's like a toy or something, just sitting there,
like a Wilson ball.
Like a Wilson ball.
I don't know. That would have made me laugh. I think
funny.
if that was the case, I would have made me laugh. But it was they were trying. I feel like they were trying to pull at the heartstrings with her reconnecting. But I felt like if her memory came back and she had that closure of like, hey, I remember now. I remember where I'm from. I remember my parents. I feel like that would have been enough, and that would have done the job. And to me, that didn't happen.
I get you.
You know what I mean?
Would you say that this trilogy sequel, just this trilogy before they went and revamped it, did you like the Jurassic Park 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
Okay, good. Me too.
Part 2 was my least favorite, but
you know what? Mine too, but it was still really enjoyable. But part 3 to me was, I always thought about it like if I was stuck on one of the islands, the one I would not want to be on is part 3.
Why? Because of the
Well, 1, the Spinosaurus, and then 2, those Velociraptors were just terrifying, and they had pterodactyls too.
They had pterodactyls.
They had the pterodactyls. Part 2 just sucks because there's 3 T-Rexes, and then there's the Velociraptors, and then they had like besides the Spinosaurus, what is it? Not Bronchiosaurus.
I think it was the Allosaurus.
But just I'd rather be stuck on the first one. There's 1 T-Rex I don't have to deal with. He killed all the Velociraptors. I'm okay living there.
See, I think the T-Rex in part 1 was better and more of a badass than the T-Rex in Jurassic World.
Yeah, and they're the same one.
I hated the way the
Jurassic.
The way their Jurassic World ended. I can get into a whole other thing about
Yeah,
this.
no, okay, no. The first one gets a pass. The other two were just, and then the part 2 of Jurassic World was just a copy and paste of the Lost World. It was the same thing.
Yeah. That is very true.
And then the last one just sucked.
And it's crazy because we're talking shit about it, but we're gonna watch the new one coming out.
Absolutely, you think I'm gonna be there with popcorn?
I love dinosaurs. So.
Me too. I love dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like, what was I gonna say? That the last Jurassic World, you brought back the big OG3 for nothing.
Oh,
it just sucked.
Yeah.
It just sucked. And the way, and then just the villain of the dinosaur. That, what was it? The Gigantosaurus, Gigasaurus. I think it's what it's called. Gigalosaurus. Whatever that thing was.
No, that was the one that they fused together.
No, not the Indo or the Indominus Rex, not the Indominus Rex or the Indominus Raptor or whatever.
Which Jurassic Park?
Part 3.
No, we're talking
Jurassic World 3.
Jurassic World.
Yeah.
It was so bad. It was so bad. It was the Gigasaurus or something like that.
Gigalosaurus.
I'm not even joking. Gigantosaurus. It was something like that. But I was just like, this sucks. I remember watching it and I was just so not into it. I was like, this is just such a bad movie.
You know what my problem was? And hold on. What is it there?
It's like Giga.
Oh, the Giganotosaurus.
Is that it? Yeah, that's it right there.
Giganotosaurus. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but
just
I mean, who really knows how to pronounce these right? You know
it's just it's just like it's just infuriating me the way that it ends where they get into a fight and you think the OG T-Rex dies and you're like, that's it? Are you fucking kidding me right now? This is how my childhood ends?
No,
this is how it dies?
Okay, to your point, because this is what pissed me off, and we'll end with this. In Jurassic World, they're in this theme park, right? The whole thing and everybody, and then they touch up a little bit on the water dinosaur, right? The water dinosaur fish.
Yeah.
And they explain it. Oh, it feeds off of the shore of whenever it's on the shore. That's how it feeds. That's how it eats. It just grabs what's on the shore. So they hint at it at the very beginning of the movie, and then at the end of the movie, you have this T-Rex fighting the
Rex.
Right. You have this T-Rex fighting the Indominus Rex
with the Velociraptor.
They team up. He teams up with Blue and the Velociraptors, and they're trying to basically fight him. They're losing
terribly.
Right? They push this dinosaur to the edge of the dock, and this dinosaur that we haven't seen since the beginning of the movie comes out of nowhere,
like Jaws,
like the megalodon that it is, jumps out of the water, grabs the dinosaur off the shore as we were told, and kills it. And then no, that's not even the problem. That's not even the part that pisses me off.
This is my favorite part. Go.
This isn't the part that pisses me off. Is that at the end of the movie, T-Rex is screaming on the building as if he did something. Guy, you didn't kill the dinosaur.
You almost died.
You almost died. 2, you had help. And 3, you weren't the one who did the final blow.
And then you were like, this cannot be.
I'm like, bro, you are T-Rex. You are the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And we're supposed to be rooting for you. And here you are thinking you're fucking champion heavyweight of the world. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
For episode 2. We'll be back for episode 3. There are movies that I had seen that we'll be talking about next time. We're probably gonna watch Warzone coming up, or Warfare.
Yeah.
So we'll be talking about that
too. Guess what, guys? A24 right there.
Another A24 film. You guys have a good one.
Have a good one, guys. Take care.